it's refreshing to some of us that have been around this table for some time to have a prime minister that has our backs, that are out there. He's a great community builder, and he's a brilliant businessman. And I'm confident that he's going to take the business approach to our federal government that we haven't seen for a long time.
He's going to take the business approach that we haven't seen for a long time. Welcome back, ladies and gents. If you're new here, my name's Clyde. Let's get into this story. So Mark Carney is saying that Ottawa will only accept the best deal for Canada as trade talks continue with the United States of America. Carney was quoted here saying, "We are looking for the best deal for Canada. We're going to accept only the best deal for Canada." Of course, Doug Ford, as you just heard, was praising Carney for being such a great business person. Doug Ford, who's wrapping up his time as the Council of the Federation, praised Carney as a brilliant businessman who wants to protect, who wants to get projects built. But he also called on Ottawa to match Trump's dollar-for-dollar tariffs. The thing is, these guys are completely out to lunch if they think that Canada is going to get a different deal than the United States is offering to other countries around the world. This clip from Face the Nation, where Howard Lutnick is talking specifically about this. He mentions, yeah, Canada, this is the way it's going to go. We're setting the stage here. You're going to have to make some concessions.
We have a plan called USMCA, U.S.-Mexico-Canada Agreement. Virtually 75% of all goods coming from Mexico and Canada already come in tariff-free. The president said, look, unless you stop this fentanyl and close the border, we're just going to keep tariffs on the other 25%. And that's what he has on. So don't be confused about it. The president understands that we need to open the markets. Canada is not open to us. They need to open their market. Unless they're willing to open their market, they're going to pay a tariff. That's a simple message the president has. It's fair trade. It's reciprocal trade. Why should we have our country be wide open while theirs is closed? This is an 80-year wrong that President Trump is trying to fix, and our businesses are going to really, really enjoy it. I think the president's going to open between $300 and $400 billion of opportunity for Americans. That's 1.5%, up to 1.5% GDP growth, because the president's going to open all these markets up. Yeah. You saw it with Vietnam. You saw it with Indonesia. You're going to watch all these other countries decide if they want to do business with America. Let's just open our market up to America. That's opportunity that President Trump is bringing.
It's actually accurate here. 80 years, he says, an 80-year wrong. And this is in regards to trade protectionism that Canada has been engaging in for a very long time and getting away with it largely. You know, Canada has had a pretty decent situation with the United States. The United States has been pretty forgiving for a lot of, let's just say, forgiving for a lot of bad behavior when it comes to trade deals. And the United States is changing the way they do business with the world. This is not just a Canada-U.S. relation thing. This isn't to do with a 51st state or any of that stuff. It's largely to do with just opening up trade. And if countries don't want to open up trade, then they're going to get it. This is the reality of the situation. You can't say it any better than this. Now, looking at some of these other deals. So this is the deal that was made with the Republic of Indonesia. What's the deal that they're going to have? Indonesia is committed to purchasing $15 billion in U.S. energy, $4.5 billion in American agricultural products, and 50 Boeing jets, many of them 777s for the first time ever. Our ranchers, farmers, and fishermen will have complete and total access to the Indonesian market of over 280 million people. And in addition to this, Indonesia will pay the United States a 19% tariff on all goods they export to us. So this is the deal that's happening around the world. These countries are getting deals where they're opening up their market and they're still paying a tariff to enter the United States market, the largest economy on the planet. Here's a deal that they got with Vietnam. Vietnam, after speaking to the to the leadership there, take us to your leaders. The terms that are here with the Vietnam people and businesses will be paying a 20% tariff on all goods that they send into the United States, and a 40% tariff on any trans-shipping. So if they try to get out away from that 20% tariff, they're going to have to pay a bigger tariff. Now, in exchange for that, Vietnam will be opening up the access to their markets, just like they've done with Indonesia has done with the United States. So they're going to pay a tariff to do business with the United States, and they're opening up their markets tariff-free to American businesses. Now, this is another country of 100 million people in an emerging market. Now, do you think that Canada is going to get a much better deal with 40 million people market? This is really incredible. You really need to be paying attention to what's happening around the world. Of course, the United States making a landmark deal with the UK as well. a country that Canada has been struggling to make a deal with because of our trade protectionism. If you remember back in 2024, January of 2024, the Brits walked away from the negotiation table with Canada over dairy tariffs. That's right. Now, a lot of people will say, well, those tariffs, they never get met. Nobody's actually even paying them. Well, that means that the protectionism is working. What happens is they put on these exorbitant tariffs if you try to enter the market. So what are they? People just don't enter the market. It means that these barriers are working. Britain walked away from the negotiation table because of this. It really is one of those. And what was Canada's response? Well, they codified it into law. They're not even allowed to negotiate anymore. Bill C-202, which was rammed through the House of Parliament and then through the Senate and is now law, makes it so that they cannot negotiate. This literally is a law to say that foreign affairs, and when in negotiations, they cannot even negotiate supply management. It's off the table, not even allowed. Now, this has become a contentious issue with the Trump administration because Donald Trump has brought this up. The dairy tariffs, poultry and eggs, it's on principle. Even though it's a very small portion of the Canadian market, it's on principle that Canada is not acting in good faith when it comes to negotiations. Now, does this mean tariffs are on the table for Canada long term? Well, that might just be the case.
Well, we saw framework announcements with those countries you just mentioned, but back on what the Canadian Prime Minister, the man you're negotiating with, said, he's assuming there's going to be a tariff here. There's already this baseline 10% tariff that we are seeing from the administration. Is that set in stone, or is it going to go to like 15 or 20%?
Well, I think what you've got is you should assume that the small countries, the Latin American countries, the Caribbean countries, many countries in Africa, they will have a baseline tariff of 10%. And then the bigger economies will either open themselves up or they'll pay a fair tariff to America for not opening themselves up and treating America unfairly. So what the president's view is, and what she's instructed me to do, is say, look, if you're willing to open yourself up and really open your economy to American business, to ranchers, fishermen, farmers, and businesses, then of course we'll make a better deal with you. But if you're going to keep your tariffs and your tariff barriers holding us down, then of course it seems fair that you should pay a tariff to do business with the greatest customer on earth, the American consumer.
The greatest customer on it. And you know what? That is something that everybody is after. They want to get into the U.S. market so that companies from their countries can sell, and they would largely benefit from this. Like I just went over, Vietnam, Indonesia, the United Kingdom. They're very keen on entering the U.S. market, and they're even willing to assume tariffs just so that they can have access to the U.S. market. Now, Canada has had a very, very good deal for a very, very long time, and it seems like those days are numbered. So it comes down to, what are we holding off for? What are we holding off for on this deal? Now, what Howard Lutnick just said calls into question, Are we one of those small countries or are we one of those big countries? Because if you look at our GDP, we are at the very bottom of the OECD. We are not doing so hot, and it looks like we're really doing it to ourselves. Jasmine Lane putting this one out here. Premier Smith, Mo, and Ford say the obvious truth. No investors will touch Canada, no matter how much the Liberals beg them to, unless the harmful regulations and laws in place are removed. So this is beyond trade barriers. This is just bad practices and horrible regulation within the country.
By now, you should all know these bad laws that I speak of quite well. Bill C-69, the oil and gas emissions cap, the tanker ban, the net zero vehicle, and net zero electricity mandates. Removing these anti-resource, anti-development laws will allow Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Ontario to attract the investment and project partners we need to get shovels in the ground, grow industries, and create jobs. So I'm excited to continue collaborating so that we can reach our shared goals, including to advance pipelines and responsible energy development. This new way of working together across provincial borders will benefit the people of Alberta, Saskatchewan, and Ontario, and ultimately all people across Canada.
All people across Canada. Now, this would be great. I'd love to see this regulations being lifted, but we're not really seeing any of that in the talks here. So, getting back to the original story here with Carney, says Ottawa will only accept the best deal for Canada as trade talks continue. What is the best deal? I want to I'll probably put that out to you guys in the audience. What would be the best deal for the Canadian economy going forward? If this is the way the United States is treating all countries around the world, what kind of deal can we get? I think reciprocal tariffs are only going to put us in a more of a pickle with the United States, and that could be really detrimental to us. I'll leave this one with you guys. Let me know in the comments down below, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.